Hello. I promise I'll be fast because I have two friends after me. I have one here and Paco there. So I try to keep my message fast and really on the time. So before I started talking about my speech today, I have a diary that I always, when I'm traveling, I want to write, maybe because my kids will read in the future. Well, I have two daughters. One is 7, one is 6. And before I come here, I was in Mexico, and then I decided to stop over in Brazil for 6 hours just to see the kids. And I was like folding and putting all my stuffs in the luggage, and I stopped at it, and I was thinking like, why we do that? Like crossing oceans, put our stuffs in the bag, and doing this and organizing like our speech here, and then I really sit on the bed. I said, why? And then for me, I do for them because they are the future. But we came here, everyone who was here left their wife, husband, family, restaurants. And then in the end, the point is we come here to share our thoughts, to share ideas, to share what we are feeling, what we think about the future. And everyone talks, all the talks that are, the message is, we need to save the planet. We need to be healthier. We need to empower the food. We need to understand about food. And I think that is the future about gastronomy, because it's not just to be a chef. We are in a mission. I think all the chefs are in a mission. And the mission is the planet, the nature. And I think we are the nature. And we eat live things. Well, for our body, we need to kill to eat, even vegetables, meat, or whatever. And then I think that mission is not just about us, but it's about all the human beings in the planet, because we are just one. And I think this is the message that I wrote in the diary. I hope they can read maybe in 10, 20 years, I don't know. But I just want to share with you because, to be able in the future to tell my kids that we are not coming here to work. We come here to change the world. I think that's the goals of all the chefs who was here in the stand in Gastromasa. Well, I come here to talk about bees. So sorry, I just want to have that message before. So for me, I think sustainability is gone. Gone, I mean, everyone have to be sustainable in the days that we're living today. So now I think it's time for regeneration. We need that. That word is going to be our future. This is like with the COVID, we change our lives. We talk more about how to live better, sports, food. We are trying to connect with food, with nature again. And that's amazing, because when you cook, you have the power. Like even in your house, when you open, you cut the onions, you put the garlic and put the rice, and that's incredible. You transform food, you transform ingredients. You can do a broccoli, you can do a soup, you can do a steam, you can cook with shrimp, meat. So we are the transforming people. So I think now it's time to repass that message to regenerate our planet Earth. Well, biodiversity, for me, I understand our ecosystem, I understand about products, about season, climate, and gardens. We cooks must understand everything around food, around our planet, and thank you, our planet and our community. We are the example to society. We need to show the society how food is important to our body. The time that we never have time because we're always busy. We eat in the trunk. We have a fast food because we don't have time. So I think time don't need to be against us, but work side by side with us. So when I see the message like preserve it, because I think we need to think globally, but acting locally. We need to understand where we come from. We need to understand our land. Because before you want to be famous chef, the greatest chef, you need to understand your country, the people who live before you there. What's the system of the food in that place that you live? You need to understand the products. We need to understand people, because food is made from people. And I think people are amazing when, sometimes I just in the museum and then just sitting there and watching people, like different types of people looking the same art, and that's incredible. And I think food is that. Food is people, it's us. We cook for someone, we cook for our guests, we cook for our family. Everyone want to be in the kitchen. Well, in my house, everyone want to be in the kitchen, want to share. Like I have a big living room to have all the friends, but everyone is staying in the kitchen. And that's how incredible is food and how incredible is kitchen and table. Sometimes table is just a piece of wood, piece of, I don't know, granite or rocks, whatever, we can have a table. But table is a time, like when we see table, it's dignity to sit, to have your plate. We can share, we can fight, we can share romance, we can share family, we share friendship. So table for me is something like I really respect that time when you sit, when you have your food there. Well, I believe the food is a tool for political, economical, social, and cultural transformation. We have a problem with hunger. We produce too much. We send a lot of food to the trash, and it's a mess. It's really a mess. So I think it's time for us to come back, unite again, and try to change the way that we are living today. So this is one of our farmers, and talk about products and producers. So in the end, we always talk about products, but behind the products, we have people. We have people who wake up in the morning to deliver that ingredients to us. And that ingredient sometimes it's transformation. And then we transform the ingredient in our hands. So I have this phrase from my grandma. When I was a kid, and this is I always want to tell because the fish come to the table to her to cook. She's a great cook, by the way. And then she come to me, when Manu, you cook, you don't kill twice because the fish already die once for you. And so when we cook, we don't have to be in a rush. We need to focus, have time, patience, because that ingredient, a lot of people work for the ingredient be in your hands. Well, the next generation, they need us. They need how we're gonna work, how the choice that we're gonna do for our body. So I decided to talk a lot of this for you can understand. This is Instigli Bliss. It's native honey from, not just from Brazil, but for all, you can find it in South America, some in North America and Australia. Well, I like to talk about the bees because they are social insects. They are individual. They live in the hives, but they divide in three castes: queen, workers, and drones. When you think of the queen, we think someone with a lot of power who tells everyone what to do, right? Well, that doesn't happen with the bees. In bee society, there is no central command post. Power is disseminated through hives, and daily decisions are made conceptual through chemical, visual, auditory, and tactile. Each one of their parts, we could save the planet, crisis, ask for help. In addition, they communicated in the lights. Me even more, because it took like a cook. Be communicated through touch, movement, sounds, and smells. So I think the beehives look like a cook, if you think. Because how we pass a message? With the smell, with the movement, with our touch in the plate, and with the sounds that we want to make in the people's minds Like sounds, I mean, like the message that we want to give to them. So when I talk about politics, economic, social, and cultural, many years ago, we developed this project in Curitiba, where I come from, Brazil, because what happened with the bees in Brazil? So when the Portuguese arrive in Brazil, our bees, you see they are super small bees. They don't produce, they produce black wax, and not so much, but the Portuguese need wax for the Catholic Church, and they want a white candle. So they bring it, the European bees, to Brazil. And then the European bees produce 10, 20, a million times more honey than our bees. So we forgot them. But some of the plants in Amazon, in Atlantic forest, in Cerrado, we need our bees because they are so small. So pollination, we need that bees. So I have a foundation, and I have a good friend who is crazy about bees. Everything that I'm talking here, I learned with him. And then we become with this project in Curitiba called Jardins Smell Bee Garden. We start with the first bee garden in front of Manu and in my house. And then that's how I know when you have a stand and then when you have a microphone. I put in front of the restaurant, and then people stopping by because they are beautiful, you know, and they don't bite. See, these bees, they don't bite. So the people stop and said, what is this? What is this? Oh, this is bees, this is stingle bees. So they start to grabbing phone, and one of our producers said, Manu, I'm selling like a beehives for houses, for people, for normal people. And then the fun part is like, we are not doing for the honey, but we are doing for pollination the city. So the first bee garden, we try it, and then we come to the government, because I believe we can work political together. So we can do something for the city and for the people. So we started with the bee gardens in Curitiba. So the first bee gardens was inside of schools and the urban gardens, for helping the producer to make information and education is my goals to the future in the society. And they are my daughters, but I think about education, information, and the future of the children. So this is like when we start doing, and the government said, yes, okay, we're going to invest it. And it was incredible. The first one, we want to put in like in the streets, all over Curitiba, you know, like in the public market, around the city, but they said, no, this is too crazy. Let's just start inside the gardens, inside the schools. So today, all the schools we have around Curitiba, we have the public school, we have bee gardens for the pollination, for the kids understand how to work. Because inside of beehives, you can understand how polite you have to be with the human being, how respect is important. Doesn't matter if you are the president, if you are the director, but everyone has to respect themselves, the same as in the kitchen. Because when we have respect inside the kitchen, it's incredible restaurant, and you can see the future. And when we have shared information with the people who are near us, even like producers, kids, I think that's the goals for our future. So this is just for understand a little bit about the bees. So in Brazil, we have, we call meliponas, it's the type of, but different types of bees. So in Brazil, we have 250 types of stingly bees. In the whole world, 400 types. And where I come from, it's the biggest part. We have stingly bees called Atlantic forest. Paraná, Curitiba is the city, but all over Paraná. We have 63 types of bees. And most of them, they are super acidic. So now I'm going to call them to, they're going to serve this honey that you are trying called Miri Saiki. It's super acidic. I don't put lemon and no vinegar. It's the bees. So why they are like this? Because they fermented inside of their box. So the box, I'm trying to get back here. Here. So this is the color of the honey. So this is the melgueira we call. So when they close the little balls of there, the honey is already. So imagine when you close something with the honey inside, they fermented. So the bee do their own fermentation with their honey. Okay, so this is an example that our box. So we did this called Jardins de Mel. It's like a bee garden, and then the type of the bees is Mandasaia. So each entrance of the bee box, the beehives, is different. Each one of them, like Mandasaia, the one that you are drinking, is different because they do their house, like my house is different than each one of you guys. So they do their house, the entrance of their house is totally different between them. So we started with one, the first one was mine. Today we have 1,210 bee gardens around Curitiba, beehives. And bee gardens, we have all over. So if you're driving a car, you can see a tree, and then you can see a little box like this. It's from the mayors, from the city. And the project is so nice. Now we are bringing the project for other states in Brazil. And it's something that we are super proud in Curitiba because we are the first one to develop the project of the urban gardens and to help the families to produce, to understand the food control, to understand how to eat better, how to make you powerful to cook your own food, and to have your little garden. And in some places that they are like just land that they left by big companies or electrical companies who have in the bottom you cannot do nothing, so we create the gardens. And so this is like one of the biggest projects that we have. And talking about this, about the bees, make me so proud because it's something that it's a seed that I'm putting in you guys' mind today. Because nothing is impossible, everything is possible for we can change. Doesn't matter how big is the project, doesn't matter how we started, but okay, if you don't have bees, it's just an example how we can do a change. How we can just not look by ourselves, by our restaurant. And I think that's our mission as a chef, as a student, starting just changing the food in your family or create a new project that you can share with the community. Because sharing is the word for our future. I think that's the mission, is sharing ideas, sharing information. And this is how we can be bigger in the future and save the planet, make a better planet, a healthy planet. So the bee gardens and the urban gardens that we did, we have a lot of awards that for the most sustainable city in Latin America. Curitiba, it's really, we invested a lot in sustainability, in regeneration, in make the population the owner of the city, and they make understand about information, education, and about food, and how they are important to our community. Doesn't matter if you're a chef, if you're a cook, everyone can do a change, everyone can be better in the future. Well, I wrote something here, I always finish with this before I share the video with you. But I cook to change the weather, I cook to change the mood, I cook to change the nature, I cook to change the world, but I cook to change people. We have value of food again, valuing our life again. So thank you so much. I try to be fast and give the message because we have two amazing guys come up. And I just want to share the video of the restaurant for you understand where we come from and where is Curitiba. Thank you so much.
To eat is to connect with the whole. So, let's make a pact for a day. We sit at the table, turn off our cell phones, the television. We make ourselves present for those who accompany us, talking softly as someone speaking about love would do. And, if alone, We think about ourselves with the same grace of that song that made us sleep one day, when we still didn't know the difference between the self and the breast of our mothers. In the midst of smells, flavors, with all the reverence that naturally grants lightness to gestures. With respect for the sacred, we take the food to the mouth. The papilla dilates. Sun, water, air, earth, fire, insects, pollen, hands, sweat, death, life, time, creation. All this is made and unmade by each miraculous bite. Tiny miracles, yes, weaved by infinite stories between our teeth and tongue. Details, so small they can lead us to the divine spark of a primordial explosion that pulsates in the food, awakening in us a cure that feeds the eyes and expands our being. Thus, in this pact, we proclaim ourselves beyond the table, surrendering, feeling, making a big move outward, towards the other, the world. We find once again our origins. We remember unconsciously, without any effort, between grains, meat, sea, green, reds, oranges, textures, what the concrete mind reveals when it calms down. That we are also a point connecting to another in an endless chain. Creators and creatures. We are, in essence, what feeds us. We are nature.